Hello, this is Jamerica with Jamerica Life, and today I want to warn you. I want to warn you about chicken math. Chicken math is a real thing. I started off with 6 chickens, I think. Turned out I had a couple of roosters in there, so I can't really say they were chickens. Here's some feed. We're going to feed these roosters. So I started off with about 6. Now I lost count. I think I have 20, 25. I don't know. I keep trying to reduce the roosters. I'll keep the hens most of the time, unless they're extremely mean, which, I haven't had a really, really bad hen yet. But roosters, I have one that will not allow the chickens to come in there and lay their eggs. He chases them out. And then I have another one that just beats up the smaller hens. So they're locked up. I need to feed them. So let me show you what happens. Now I do have some gangsters in there, and when they see me coming with food, they try to knock it out of my hand. They just do. Especially those Rhode Island Reds. They fly up. No, I'm not going to say Rhode Island Reds because I have a couple of other ones. So let's go in there and see what happens, huh? They're always going to do something. There's always going to be a surprise. So I can't tell you what's going to happen. We'll see. Move. This is not for you. It's not for you. You already have your food. It's over there. Stop following me. Stop following me. Really? You look just like your daddy. I hope y'all didn't catch that scene. So I have 2 roosters in here. The brown one, he's very nice, but he will not allow hens to come in here. He chases them out and tries to mate with them. The white one, I've caught him ripping out feathers. So I put him up. You stuck, boy? I need to get him some water too, but I'm gonna give him this first. I bought some new feed from the supermarket and it smells like pizza. I know they're hungry. I don't need to give them all of this, but I need to give them enough. That brown one is gonna knock it over. You'll see. You'll see. There are also some chores I forgot to do because chickens, wherever they sleep, they poop. So this extra stuff like this needs to go out. It's full of poop. I should have put this out this morning. Okay, now that I got that out, I don't want a fly problem to develop in here. Sorry about that. I don't want a fly problem to develop in here, so I put anything with poo on it out. And just like that, I don't see like one fly. Just like that. Just getting that out of here. That's why I put the top of, this is like a dog cage. So you know that little plastic thing on the bottom? I put that on top. I put some of the shredded pine shavings on top just so that it doesn't stick to there. And in the morning, I just throw it out, set it in the sun, and let it dry out so that the poo will just fall off by nightfall. I scrape it off with a stick, and I put it back with some more pine shavings so that I can do the same thing over and over again, because they roost right here, and right here. I can't very well do anything about the ground, but I certainly can stop them from pooing on the roosters. I'm sure they don't appreciate that if that happens. So I put that on every night diligently, because there's always probably going to be either some chickens that are going to be sleeping in this cage. Some of them like it in there. Need to fix this. That's their roost. Some of the chickens are going to either sleep in there, or I'm going to have some roosters in confinement until I can find them another home. These roosters have been in here about 24 hours. As I said, I need to feed them, and their water has run out, so I need to go and give them some fresh water. Let's do this. Move, boy. No. Let me get this out. Share. Let me get their water and you can watch them eating. And maybe a couple of chickens will come in here to be nosy. I changed my mind. So I had a couple of people ask me what they needed in order to get a couple of chickens. First, you're gonna need somewhere for them to sleep or to roost. Oh, Tiny trying to get back in, she's thirsty. This is my Tiny chicken that consistently leaves. Come on. Come on, girl. No. Come on, girls. Come on, Tiny. You see her? No Cruella. Forget it. I only named the ones that I had for a while or the ones that are giving me trouble, like that little one that's outside. She's thirsty. She doesn't want to come back in here. And she slips through the bottom of this thing. I got to get some chicken wire and cover that up. Or, you know what, I could use some of this netting to stop her from doing that, because she leaves every day and goes on a little safari. All right, let me get them some water. So the next thing you're going to need is now you have a cage, right? And that could be as simple as a dog cage, depending on how many chickens you have. You don't want to put 15 chickens in a dog cage. I think I've had as much as 4 chickens in there at a time. You don't want much more than that, because then they get overheated, or, they just start fighting with each other, and that's never good. So a dog cage is the minimum, I think. And if it's cold, you're going to need a blanket or something to cover it up. Then I have a tough shed. That used to be a dog house, but my dogs were not using it. So when I got the chickens, I was like, yeah, that's going to be my new chicken house. So shelter, that's first. Then you need to get a waterer. I got this, and I have these cement trays. The cement trays are actually cheaper than these. These are around like $35 to $50, these waterers. They like this better. And this was only 20 bucks. The smaller one was only 10. I need to clean that other one out. And they just use this. They use this more than they use this. Problem is, in the wintertime, these freeze. So, and these you can keep in the coop. The water, I would recommend you keep in the coop. The feeder, keep it outside of your coops. It brings pests like ants and all kind of bugs. Although the chickens eat it, you don't want fire ants in your coop. So you have shelter, you have water, you have food. Of course, you have to have water, and then you have to buy, if it's chicks, I recommend chick feed. If it's chickens, grown chickens or close to teenagers, go ahead and get some layers feed. The reason why I say that is because chick feed normally does not have any calcium in it, and chickens need calcium in order for their egg structure to be hard. So chick feed normally does not have that in it. It has more protein, but it has no calcium. You don't want a rubber egg, because rubber egg cause chickens to get egg bound, and they might, they'll be sick and they might pass away on you. So always supplement them with calcium. If you get chick feed, then you should put oyster shells in there, or take their egg shells, crush it up, put it in the oven, crush it up, and put it back in their feed. So they'll have some calcium. So we covered shelter, water, food, safety. Initially, I put them out here in this dog run with no overhead on it. Let me go and get them the water, and we'll go on with this in a sec. When you buy these waterers, right, they are going to be hard to close. I'm going to have to replace this water, so I'm going to dump this in here because I'm cleaning this out. I recommend you clean your waterers, or at least dump them daily. Dump the reservoir in this thing daily. Now they have a smaller one, but if you have a lot of chickens, you need to get the bigger one, because you're going to be filling it up over and over again. They sell the metal ones, and I have a metal one, but I only use that when I'm on vacation, because I was in dire need for a waterer, and I couldn't find one before I went on vacation. So I was just driving around collecting as many waterers as I can, to include these cement trays. I had them all around the yard, and feeders. I put the feeders indoors because I didn't want it to get wet on the rain, but the waterers, I had them everywhere. Just like us, animals can live without food for a while, but water, they'll be gone in a day or so. So always make sure you got water. Let's take this back to the roosters. I'm sure they're thirsty. And you're gonna see the little white thing go halfway. You need to make sure this thing is completely closed. So what I do is I do it halfway, right? And then I flip it over and I turn it the rest of the way. Be careful when you're flipping it because you don't want to lose all your water. I've done that several times and I get so irritated with myself. So I flip it over, right? I put my feet on the sides and I turn it until it goes in there. Let's take it to the roosters. Some people say that having chickens is easy and it's not a lot of work, but if you're doing it, trying to keep them as healthy as possible, it's more work than you think. I've had chickens get sick where I had to soak them in Epsom salt for a half an hour or so just to get the magnesium in their system. And they're making me out of a liar. They're drinking out of the water, never waterer now because the other waterer, I have to clean it. So they're over here with this one. Let me take this into the roosters. And we need to dump the other tray. I don't get rid of the water. I use it for my plants. So we're going to do that. This is a daily ritual. Daily. It's homesteading, even if it's urban homesteading chores, are you have to do it. If I wasn't here, of course, I'd let them, do what they, whatever they need to do to survive. But since I'm here, I try to make sure, look at her drinking their water. She's like, I want the clean stuff. You're a trip. They're hiding from the heat. Or they're being nosy. They're never in here. They're never in here. Let's go ahead and give them their water. Okay. Excuse me, sweeties. Come on, Barak, go on. Unless you want to go back in there. Why he flip it over? He flipped it over. Girl, get in. He's always flipping it over. Where's your water boy? Oh, flip you over, crack the bowl. Alright, an egg for me. Let me get this out of here because they'll break it. I have another water in here, and this is what I mean by dumping it. You take the waterer, right? And find out where the slot is, and you dump it. And it refills with fresh water. Make sure you get everything out of there. Ooh, girl. Ooh, bump into me. So, you can see what they do to my pine shavings. I don't care if they poop on the bag. I do care if they poop in the fresh pine shavings. Now I have to go over here and change out this water. Now, here's another thing I want to tell you about. It's hot out here in Texas. I have mud out here on purpose. I let it dry out every couple of days. I don't do it so it can dry out because it brings flies. But I need to buy a pool so that the chickens can walk in it and cool their feet down. You ever stick your foot in cold water? It cools your whole body down. Same thing with chickens. Same thing. There's another thing I do with their water every so often. I used to do it every day, but I do it like every week now. And I put apple cider vinegar in their water. It helps with their digestion and helps them, stay regulated and be able to go. I have had a couple of constipated chickens, and that is never good. Never good. Never good. Always have to soak them in magnesium. With magnesium makes them go. And I tell you not to do this, but I have given 2 of my chickens. Barak, you need to do your job. I have given 2 of my chickens enemas. Yeah, olive oil enemas. Don't follow me. It's not approved, but it works. It gets them unstuck. So I'm gonna dump this water out, and we're gonna put some apple cider vinegar in there with some fresh water. My poor little Dollar Tree bucket is giving up the ghost. It's starting to fall apart. I'm still gonna use it though. The handle's falling off. Stay together. You can do it. Bend it. Hope I don't crack the bucket by doing that. I bent the little thing in, so let's use our bucket. And now, because the hose can't get out of here, I'm gonna try to water at least 2 of these on this side. We still have a lot of water left. I have at least 1.5, 2 buckets left. So I'm running the water. I'm gonna wash the bottom of that the big cement mixer tray out, and then I'm just gonna refill it. And I'm gonna put the vinegar in after it fills up. They put their little dirty feet on the edges to drink water, and then it becomes a mess. Wash this off before I slip. All right, time to refill it. All right. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Y'all know the Yolanda Adams song? The room grew still as she made her way to Jesus. She stumbled through the tears that made her blind. Look at that. I think it's called Alabaster Box. All right, so we already watered all of the trees that I'm gonna water on the exterior for today. We need to turn the water off and dump that other cement tray. That's the easy part. This is why a lot of farmers and homesteaders do not have to hit the gym. Do not. Because it's work. Exercise in and of itself. I think I'm gonna fill this one up also. Let me dump this. And let me make this a foot pool instead of making a mud pool. How about that? I don't want my chickens to not have a shade place. So I'll put it right there. And we'll fill up a couple of buckets and let them, they're probably going to drink out of it, but I'm going to give them an opportunity to have a foot bath. Some of them will jump in there when they get hot enough. I normally put it in the shade, especially since it's black. Let me move it over a little bit. I'm calling her Philomena. That's Cruella. Cruella DeVille. She's my oldest hen. Then it's Dum Dum. Dum Dum is that one. Most of these chicks belong to Dum Dum. Dum Dum is, she's something else. She saw Bard Rockin' and she saw hearts in her eyes. So let me fill this. Well, I'm not going to fill it up. I'm just going to put a shallow pool so they'll go up to their, to their kneecaps if chickens have kneecaps. They're looking in there like, there's no water in here. There's no water in here. I don't have any cabbages growing right now, so I had to buy them from the supermarket. But go ahead and throw a couple of cabbages out there. I just put this out this morning, and I wanted to give let me get these out of here because these are from yesterday. I wanted to give my chickens some vegetation, and my Swiss chard needs a break. So I put, cantaloupe out here that I didn't. One of them I didn't want. And the other one, I ate what I wanted out of it, and I threw it out here. But the cabbages I bought especially for them. And look at what they did. I mean, this one was just from today. That's yesterday's. They eat that stuff. Here's their feed. They don't really like that stuff, but they're going to eat it. They want me to cook for them. When they have an upset stomach, I feed them rice. Rice, and I put the vinegar in their water. And so far, it's been working. Take this out to the recycle. Man, he's finding his voice. I'm gonna put him up. That's that Joker. Joker is the ugly one. Let me see if I can find him. He's the red one with the black with the rusted. And he wants to go back in the cage because that's what's gonna happen to him. He thinks I like him. I don't. The only one I like is barred rock. And the ones that look like barred rock. And of course, Cruella de Vil and Dum Dum. Oh, and the Bantams. I like them too. But they're annoying also. They're on their way out. So I got an alarm. Find out what that is. We're gonna take this out and then we're gonna get our vinegar and then I'm gonna sit down and talk to you about the things you possibly need for a chicken coop. If you want more from me in this journey, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and like so you'll see it pop up. And maybe hit the notification and maybe share it with somebody else. Let's go on. But not least, I'm going to put some vinegar into the water. Just a little bit. Just a touch. Shake it up. Just a splash. Uh-oh. It helps with the microbiome in their stomach just like it does for us. So this is good. Let's sit down and I'll tell you what I know about, keeping chicks alive and keeping chickens alive because it's totally different. Well, chicks are, they're different. Let me tell you. So this is one of the chicks that we hatched around 6 weeks ago. All of them survived. I'm very good with animals. Very good at keeping them alive. This is one of Barred Rock's babies, of course. Can you see? Can you tell? Look at the face. Look at the fur. Look at the plumage. So they look completely different than when they were born. So when these chicks are first born, first of all, keep them in the incubator for at least 24 hours. And while you're doing that, heat up their area. Heat up the area that you keep them in, the cage or the room or whatever, should have a temperature that if you walked into it, you'd start sweating. Chicks have to stay warm. Then I give them chick feed. I'm not going to say the brand, but buy Chick Starter, right? And then when you first put them into their pen, if it's a tote or a dog cage, I keep them in a dog cage. If it's in a dog cage, you to make sure you put their beak, you take their little face and you dip their beak into that water so that they get their first taste of water. Now the food, they'll figure out the food, especially if there's a lot of them. They'll waste your food too, by the way, if you put too much in there. But this is one of the 9 chicks. Isn't it cute? Barred Rock baby. Barred Rock baby. I don't know if it's a male or female. He usually makes females, which I like. And I think this is a female. He has created, I think, 2 males the whole time out of like 30 chicks. I gave some away. I gave the males away, of course. So about 20, about 30 chicks, two males. So he's a female maker. And that's why, another reason why I want to keep him, because he makes hens. Just like, ever notice that some men only have boys? It's the man who decides what, the man's biology or the man's sperm decides what sex it's going to be. So he is producing hens. The hens that just have, just like us, X. The male is either X or a Y. So that's what Barred Rock makes. He makes females. I don't know about the mother ones, so they haven't been proven. I left my cage open. I think Joker got out because I don't see him. Joker and Tiny are out on the loose. Anyway, you got to keep them warm. Dip their beaks into the water when you first put them in there. Leave them in their in their hatchery for 24 hours. When you take them out, make sure the area. That is Mr. Nasty Pants or his brother. They're gonna end up in the cage too. Make sure you put them in an area that is already warm. That's his brother Rollo. That is already warm, and hopefully you have more than 1 chick. Chickens are social animals. Just like this one won't shut up, and I can't mess with him because I have a chick in my hand. So make sure you have them in a warm area. Initially I had the overhead lamps. Those are very dangerous. Did somebody get him? I hope so. Those are very dangerous. They could catch a fire, so I don't use those. I use a reptile mat, depending on what I have, or one of those. It was at this moment he knew he messed up. okay, I switched chickens. So I put his brother up. So with chicks, now this is Mr. Nasty Pants. He's full grown. He's not happy right now. He's trying to claw me. But he's going to sit here with me because when I put his brother up, he makes noise. So when you put the chicks in, remember, you need chick feed, you need water. Pine shavings are optional. It makes it easier to clean. And you need a heat source. They have to stay hot, not warm, hot. I mean, it's going to be almost unbearable for you. It's not burning. Get a heating pad, one of those back heating pads, you know, the ones that our grandma used to have. Get one of those. They still sell them at the drugstore. They're bigger than reptile pads, and I think they're better because they have a cloth on top, and you just switch it out, get an old pillowcase, switch it out, and wash it by hand every day, and try to keep it as clean as possible. If you have pine shavings, be careful. You do not want a heat source next to those pine shavings. Pine shavings, or pine in general, is very flammable. So be careful with that. That's why I don't use pine shavings. Anyway, we have the roosters and we have the hens. So roosters, like this one, they don't produce eggs. They do not produce eggs. You have them for two reasons: to increase your flock and to protect the flock. That's it. Otherwise, they're noisy, and if you don't like the sound, it's quite annoying. And they don't like people. Some of them will attack you. I got attacked. I got attacked by a rooster. So you got to be careful with them. Some of them are very sneaky, and once they do something like that or attempt to attack you, just get rid of them and get another rooster. Just don't keep them around anymore. Joker is out right now, but Joker, he flies away, but he doesn't try to hurt me. I have had roosters. I turned my back and they were flying right behind my head. I had a camera and I was looking. They came straight towards me trying to attack me because roosters are there to protect, and some of them are quite aggressive. I think it was a long time ago, but I have a video on Epiphanie and Charlie. Both of those jokers. Did he poop on me? No. Both of those jokers were mean. So they went out to the country. I didn't give them away. I just gave them out to the country. And when I go out there, I still hear them. They're still alive. They're still alive. So it's probably Epiphania. I know he made it. So if you want eggs, you do not want roosters. When you buy these things, be very careful, because I thought Mr. Nasty Pants was Miss Nasty Pants. Him? He's cute, isn't he? Look at him. Look at him. He's a cute little bantam. I like him, but he ain't doing me no good. He just for show. He is just for show. He's stressed out now, so I'm gonna put him down. Just a moment. You can tell they're stressed out because their mouths start opening and then they spread out their wings. Let me let him go. Hopefully he doesn't start crowing, and we'll continue this conversation on hens. We've already talked about roosters, what they do. Now let's talk about hens in the chicken population. So hens, most of them are kind of nice. Here I have my thing out here for the mosquitoes, but it's blowing in the wrong direction. Put it closer to me. I got my citronella burning. So hens, depending on the variety, my hand was wet. Depending on the variety, you will get eggs. All eggs are not created equal, and all hens do not lay eggs every day. Every hen is different. I'm not gonna say a specific breed does this, but as far as I can tell, my Rhode Island Reds, they lay every day. Cochins, they don't lay very much. They're just pretty, and they can't take the heat. I found them out. Those jokers was getting ready to pass out here. I had to cool them down real quick. One died. The male died, and I didn't know why. I suspected it was heat stroke, and then I found that it was. I found the two females in a corner near the water bent, just listless. They would not move. So if you're down south and someone's selling cochins, as pretty as they are, they're pretty fluffy. They have their plumage is beautiful, but they're not for hot weather. Take them up north. Those are northern birds. Don't bring them down here to Texas. I bought it. I didn't know at the time that they were not heat tolerant birds, but I found out after the first one passed away, and then the other two at the same time were just sitting in opposite corners, not moving. All the other chickens were running around. These two were not moving. So, how did I get on that? Cochins don't lay a lot of eggs. I don't know about silkies because you see I got 2 male silkies. I thought they were females, but the lady, she claimed she didn't know. I know she knew. I know she knew. Anyway, because as I said, you don't want a bunch of roosters. Roosters will overbreed your chickens. They basically chase them around. They'll tag team them and get them in a corner, and they rip the feathers out of the back of their neck. And you don't. I've seen it on TV. My chickens don't look like that because I put them jokers up. I see them do something like that, and I will put them in a cage and time out, and I'll let like 1 out or 2 out. And then if I see, 2 is usually good for this size, but anything more than that, they terrorize these poor ladies. The chickens, by the way, don't always get along. You got some mean ones. Dum Dum, she used to be the scary one of the chicks when I first started. She has come into her own, and she has gotten mean, almost as mean as Cruella. Cruella got that name for a reason. I called Dum Dum that because I thought she was a dumb hen. She was smarter than the rest of the hens. That bird, her and Cruella were the only ones smart enough not to come out of the cage when my dogs chased, my Chihuahua must have chased some of them out, and the German Shepherds do what German Shepherds do. Cull them quick, especially that male. So I came back and I had to get rid of all of them. All I had was the male who passed away. I think he was just so distraught. The male, the rooster, white, was distraught, and the two hens. So I started all over, and that's how Bardock came about. Bardock was supposed to be a female, by the way. I bought a straight run, and Bardock was just one of them. Straight run means that they don't sex them at the store. So you just guess and spell which one is which. And Bardock, I kept on looking at him and said, that looked like a male. But I couldn't say anything about that one. The second time I got a male was with the Cochins. That male, what was his name? Aunt Esther, when Aunt Esther turned out to be Uncle Fester, that was a pullet group. That one should have been a female. And he passed away from heat stroke. So, and then the other 2 almost passed away from heat stroke. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call my mama up in New York and see if she wants them. She don't want them. She like, I'm in New York City. And they don't have chickens around here, but her neighbors around the corner got chickens. Shit. She might as well do it. Free eggs, you don't have to go to the supermarket. So this is an egg from one of them. And this is what the color of egg that Dum Dum's babies have. Dum Dum's babies, they look like they have wigs on their head, just like Dum Dum. So they're part Bardock and part Dum Dum, whatever Dum Dum is. Dum Dum got an afro. So her chicks, I like her chicks. Her chicks look cool. Let me show you them. And they lay eggs almost every day, all of them. And their eggs are usually off a pale green, like green eggs and ham, huh? Let me show you what Dum Dum's chicks look like. I'm looking at the Joker, who is outside of the cage, walking around. He doesn't like it out there. And the only reason why I haven't, set out Philomena to gather him up is because Tiny's out here, and I don't want Tiny to get scared. She's too small. Philomena normally will not. She doesn't, as far as I know. She hasn't killed them. She just corners them until I just go and pick them up and put them back in the cage. So Tiny, though, I don't want her because Tiny, I don't know what happened with her. But I noticed that I had a chick that was like, she looked like this when she was a kid chick, right? And I was like, that chick looked funny. But I kept on feeding her and watching her and making sure she got, she ate because the other chicks were getting way bigger than her. And now I found out that she's a dwarf chicken, some kind of way. Bardock, I don't know, somebody's XY or whatever. She's just like her sisters, the same thing. Dum Dum and Bardock had a chick, but she is the size of that chick I had in my hand. So let me put these up, and I'll show you what Dum Dum's chicks look like. Because she's the one. I think she has 15 chickens out here that belong to her and Bardock. And that happened in the course of a year. I didn't run my hatch, my little 12 egg hatch thing all year. I just ran it like maybe four times. The first time I got 2 to hatch, And then I found out that you need to use the styrofoam on the bottom. I got a live on it. You have to use the styrofoam on the bottom to keep the eggs warm enough. And you cover it up with the styrofoam and you run the plug through. I didn't know any of that. And then you run it dry and for like 18 days. And on the last 7 days or last 5, whatever days, you put water in there. But that's the hatching thing. Let me show you Dum Dum's babies. Because I think they're beautiful. I created my own breed. So you see that? They got a top hat. Let me try to get another one. They're behind the bars. See the top hat? See that top hat on them? They don't all look alike. Because the ones that are mixed with Rhode Island Red have that crown on their head. That back there is a male. These are all females, and most of these are Dum Dums. A couple of them are Cruellas. But these are my favorite. See that? I think they're so cool looking. They're not all out here, but look at her. Isn't she a cutie pie? They're all cutie pies. And they're all half Barterock with the exception of a few. The ones that I didn't purchase. Well, the ones that I did purchase. See them? That's the plan right there. And guess who's out here? Now I'm being silly. And I'll go over all the things you need for chickens. Most likely you'll buy chicks when you either you buy chicks or you buy eggs. Most likely you'll buy chicks. Tractors fly, and a lot of places just sell day-old chicks. They are very fragile. I have had a couple of chicks pass away from me, but they were ones that I hatched. There he is, the villain. I don't see Tiny around here, but I'm sure she's out because I don't see her in the pen. There he is. Yep. I'll get him sooner or later. He's a little wild, so I gotta be careful with him. So the things you need for chickens, you need shelter, so you can get a dog cage and get a cloth or something. Keep it in the shade. Chickens, they do better in the winter than they do in the summer. That heat, well, they'll die on you. Heat stroke. Exactly what it is. Same thing that happened to us, it happens to them quicker. They're way smaller. So you want to make sure that you keep it in a cool place. You have shelter. It's safe where a predator can't get in there and get them, because there are on-ground predators like cats, dogs, mice, rats. Out here we have raccoons. I shouldn't say that, but we have all kind of wildlife out here walking around. So fence them in. Then you need to worry about the aerial predators. So if you don't have a chicken run with a cage on top of it, go ahead and purchase either some shade cloth or some netting. They sell chicken netting. I like the shade cloth better because it does two things. It provides some shade and shelter from the overhead predators. I've had more problems with overhead birds like hawks. We even had vultures show up out here. So cover your run as soon as possible. I think I had 1 or 2 chicks get picked off that just disappeared. They just disappeared. And I know what happened was overhead hawk, because she kept on coming back. After I put the netting up, I saw her, trying to fly over. You could see them. When they get low, they look really small up in the sky. But when they come down or land on somebody's roof or somebody's chimney, you realize how big these birds are. And they'll just pick them up and fly off with them. You won't see no feathers, nothing. They don't cull them right there. They normally just fly off and go off somewhere comfortable for them to eat, because they're afraid you're gonna come out there. Tiny, I knew you were out here. Here she is. See her? It's a good thing I didn't let that dog out. She's just all comfortable. You need to go back in there. I left it open so that you could go back in. She's looking at me like, I ain't thirsty yet. I ain't going back in there. That's Tiny right there. Outside. She's 1/4 of the size of the other chickens. So it's just like us, right? They need food, water, shelter. Then you can get into the sanitation. Your chicken house where they stay should not smell like ammonia or poop or anything, and it shouldn't have a bunch of flies in there. Flies are a bad sign. Flies carry disease. Get those jokers out of there. I mean, it's hard, but you can put diatomaceous earth in there. You can put lime in there. I use pine shaving. I use all of those things. Sometimes I even go and get some peppermint leaves, cinnamon. Bugs don't like the scent of cinnamon, and it'll make the cage smell really good, especially if you use peppermint like I do. The flies don't like that. Fly tape, that old fly tape that you can, you should string out, and when your grandma used to string out to catch all the flies, do that. And the main thing is, if you see a bunch of flies, just knock all of that, those pine shavings, whatever you have in there, leaves, straw, take it out and put fresh stuff in. Flies do not like cleanliness. They don't like it. And as I said, you should be able to go into your chicken coop, and there shouldn't be any smell. None. If you smell something, then you got a problem. You need to clean it out. Same thing goes for where they're at, because they poop a lot. So when I start smelling, something that like a little tinge, and I'm like, oh, I got to do something. I'll have to next year I'm going to try to get as many leaves as I possibly can. Or go and get some hay. That's my last. I get pine shavings for inside the coop to keep it dry and clean. And outside, mainly pine shavings. I use the other stuff just to keep it cleansly, like the diatomaceous earth. I'll throw that on the ground for any crawling insect in there. Initially I was leaving the food in the chicken coop. I don't do that no more. It brings bugs, and then it'll bring vermin. You don't want that. So I take their feed and I put it outside. At nighttime when they're going to bed, they don't need food. I leave water in there. That's it. And at wintertime, I leave water in there all year round, but not the food anymore. I was starting to see cockroaches in there, ants, some other bugs, that unidentified bugs. Do not leave food in there. It just brings problems. I had another YouTuber talk about it, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and let them snack it, in the middle of the night. Chickens don't eat at night. All they do is sleep. In there. Feed them in the morning. And you can leave feed out there all day if you want, or you could just feed them once or twice a day. I leave feed out there. And I try to put some vegetation out there every day if I have it. And of course, fresh water. Once a week, I put some vinegar in their water to help clean out their system. And if I see them having a bunch of runny poop, I give them some rice. Rice usually does the trick. Rice and vinegar. Vinegar in the water and the rice out there. You don't want them to have runny poo in the summer, because they're gonna be dehydrated. They're not holding on to their water well enough. They'll dehydrate, and then they'll go into heat shock and heat, all that mess. You don't want none of that. Another thing is to make sure they have a shaded area and somewhere to run if there's a predator around. That's it. I mean, the bare minimum is to have food, water, shelter. That's it. Isn't that simple? The other stuff is just extra. And, if you have a bunch of roosters, well, you got to get rid of some. Just have to. For the health of your chickens. Because the roosters, they're not mean to the hens. They just want to mate. And it seems like when one wants to mate, they all want to mate at the same time. And they stress the chickens out and run them around the coop. And it's hard to watch. So I don't like it. Anyway, we're done for today. I've watered my trees. Later on today, I'm going to go out there and water everything else. The sun is out. It's about 90 degrees, so I'm not going to do that. It rained yesterday, so I didn't water the stuff that was in ground. So I have to water today, but I'll do that tonight. Hopefully that's soon enough, because, if I see my plants drooping down, then I'll go ahead. The chickens are already taken care of. Later on in the day, I'll go out there and I'll probably give them another snack or something. I'll find something for them to eat. Either some Swiss chard or something else, because they demolished the cabbage. The cabbage is eaten down to a nub. So this is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I thank you guys for being with me, and I will see you on the next one. Remember to like and subscribe. Do what you want to do, not what people tell you to do, as long as it's legal. You know, do what you have to do to survive or to thrive. That's what I'm trying to do, thrive. Bye, y'all.